like to call to order the Bargersville Town Council meeting tonight, December 14th at 7 p.m. We'll take a roll call to my right.
Dustin Doyle.
Ruth Ann Moore.
Andrew Greenwood.
Susan Paulson.
Everyone will rise and pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Ms. Young. Start with ordinance 2021-28.
This is an ordinance establishing a human resources administrator position within the town. This will be a new position.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2021-28.
This is an ordinance. Excuse me.
I'm sorry. Ordinance 2021-28.
A motion by Mrs. Qualls. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Doyle. Any comments, questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So, 4 ayes. Okay, ordinance number 2021-22.
This is the ordinance establishing the wage and salary rates for 2022. I believe this ordinance has been amended to include the HR administrator position.
Do you have any questions, Ms. Young? Entertain a motion.
Move to adopt ordinance 2021-22.
Motion by Mr. Doyle, second by Mrs. Moore. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, ask for a vote. Everyone raise your right hand, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0.
The next item is ordinance 2021-25. This is the recreation impact fee ordinance. We had the presentation last meeting. I know Member Greenwood had some questions about that one. There are amendments that you want included in that?
Yeah, so to clarify for the rest of the board, we've gone back, or Julie's gone back and amended to have a minimum of 3% annual increase or the greater of 3% or the consumer price index. So
CPI, which
was previous
year-over-year numbers,
12 months
so
period.
previous
12
12 months average them.
Right,
Perfect.
so it's the average of that. So for instance, this year would have been 6 point whatever percent, which is a lot more than 3. And then the other thing was that we flatlined and there was no differentiation between different dwellings. So whether you're a single family dwelling or a multifamily dwelling, it's the same rate per unit.
Per unit.
So a house would pay the same as an apartment unit, whether or not it's a 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom, or 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
So those were the changes that were made to the study.
To the ordinance for you to
To the
adopt.
ordinance, and is a part of the study in the ordinance that is before us tonight. Do we have any more questions, comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Just one question, I'm sorry, Andrew. One question, the amendment that we have in there, is it already in there? Do we have to approve the ordinance with the amendment?
I have a draft prepared for you to sign tonight that
Okay.
includes that
It
language.
includes it in the ordinance.
Correct.
Perfect, okay. I will move to adopt ordinance 2021-25.
Motion by Mr. Doyle,
With the amendments.
That's what I was asking. So the amendments are not in the ordinance, it's an amendment attached to the ordinance, right? With the amendments attached.
so we have a motion by Mr. Doyle with the amendments attached.
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Moore. Any questions, comments? Everyone, please vote by raising your right hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Thank you. 2021-26.
And this is an ordinance, these are budgetary ordinances authorizing the appropriation of funds. This is for the police station. Adam is here if you have specific questions on this item.
Just to clarify, this is the appropriation, this is beyond the GO bonds, this is what we're appropriating that are coming out of the three different buckets.
Correct.
Right, and after tonight's action, we'll be scheduling the public hearing, second reading adoption at your last meeting.
So at the next,
Yeah, we have to approve this tonight, right? Yeah,
'Cause this is-
a second reading.
At the public hearing.
Right. We're
at the
having
next
that.
meeting. Okay,
At the next meeting, right.
thank you. We'll see you at the next
Thanks,
meeting.
Adam. All right. And then we also have Resolution 21-14. This is the appropriation of the general obligation bond proceeds. The additional appropriation of the general obligation bonds is continued from the November 9th, 2021 council meeting, and it will be open to the public for a public hearing.
Okay, so we'll open up the public hearing here for any comments. So it is 7:07. Public hearing is open. If anyone would have comments about the resolution providing for the additional appropriation of the general obligation bonds, please come forward. State your name, address. You have 30 seconds. If no one's coming forward, we will close the public hearing at 7:08. I will entertain questions for Ms. Young and or a motion.
This is resolution 2021-14, correct?
Correct.
Move to adopt resolution 2021-14.
I'll second.
A motion by Mr. Doyle, a second by Mrs. Qualls. Questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. Those raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
4-0. Right.
We also, looks like have ordinance 2021-27. Did we pass that one already?
No,
No. Sorry.
so that's,
When we get the numbers out of order, So this is a budgetary ordinance authorizing appropriation of funds from the park impact funds.
do we need to have a public hearing for this as well?
It's advertised for the 28th.
Okay, so this will go to the next meeting. Okay. Yep,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
You got more?
Council minutes.
Minutes. Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes from the November 30th meeting?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 30th, 2021 meeting.
Motion from Mrs. Moore,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Qualls. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. Raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0. Minutes are approved.
Next item I have for you tonight is the Baker Tilly scope of services for the general obligation bonds. Realized at the end of the project that we hadn't brought this agreement to you guys for approval and signature, so.
Any questions for Mrs. Young? Ms. Young, sorry. I think in the notes, there says something about Chandler Things. The branding company, is that a?
Yeah,
typo or
it
error,
is.
or- This is just for services for the police
This is
station geo bonds, right?
Just for the geo bond.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if accounting just happened to copy and
worries.
paste while they were.
Threw me off for a minute.
Yeah.
Any questions or motion?
I move to approve the scope of services for Baker Tilly for the geo bonds for the police station.
Motion by Mr. Doyle, a second by Mrs. Call. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, everyone please raise your right hand. Vote aye.
Thank you. The next item for your consideration is the amendment to the guaranteed maximum price for the police station. This is the addition of the electric bid to that contract, where, if you recall, we rebid the electrical part of this project.
So Julie, help me here. I do have a question because I thought we
It was $1
went.
million.
It was $1 million
over
over.
a million and then we,
And we approved everything but that.
and so
we're back
now,
and adding that in.
So we approved 13 of 14 bid packages.
right, but that one was outstanding, but it was $1 million and then
We got it with it.
we uncovered a rock and found some savings.
Yeah.
Yes, and remember that when I present my next item.
Oh,
Yeah, there you
boy.
go.
Oh, set this up.
She's already beating that rock into pieces.
Wow, it's the holiday season.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Okay, any additional questions on this?
Glad we got it down.
Entertain a motion?
Okay, I move to have the amendment for the guaranteed maximum price for the police station up to the amount of $461,324 for the electrical bid.
Second.
Do a first by Mrs. Moore, second by Mrs. Qualls. Any questions or comments? I'll entertain the votes. Please raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
I guess we'll say no. 4-0.
The next item is a request for additional funds for Peterson Architecture as a result of redesigning the electrical when we rebid that item. So this would be an increase on their PO of $8,100.
Do we believe this is the end of the change orders from Mr. Peterson? I mean, are we aware of any other additional?
I don't know of any at this time, but I will say that we have not issued the building permit from the town yet. So there are a few outstanding comments on that. So there may be another one.
I'll make a motion to approve the additional cost, additional funds for Peterson Architecture for $8,100, not to exceed.
I'll second.
Motion by Mrs. Qualls, second by Mrs. Moore. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please raise your right hand and vote. Aye. Ayes have it, 4-0.
That's all I have unless you have questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Seacos.
Good evening.
Evening.
Only item I have tonight is a release of a performance bond for Highland Knoll Section 1. This is for surveying and monumentation. We did receive affirmation from North Point Surveying and Engineering that those monuments were set. Street center line monumentation and lot corner monumentation.
Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the release of the subdivision performance bonds for Highland Knoll Section 1.
I'll second.
A motion first by Mr. Doyle, a second by Mrs. Qualls. Any questions or comments? Not, ask for your vote. Aye. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you for your help with the IDM.
Quite welcome. It went very well.
Yes, thank you for your input. Jim, Brian's input.
Bertram?
I'm gonna give you the stats for the end of the year. Let's see. This is last week. They just keep going up. But the numbers that I typically like to look at, I don't like the case numbers. Those always are usually bad. But ones I like to look at is that means we're doing something positive. Is the extra patrols. I don't know if we talked about it before, but the extra patrols are we log every time we go through a neighborhood, and every officer does it, drives through a neighborhood. That's 31,405 neighborhoods we drove in this year. So those are the ones I like to see. Obviously, the lower the case numbers, the better, but some agencies, if you compare ours to other agencies in the area, you'll see that I don't know specifically name names, but some agencies you'll see this case number be a lot bigger compared to ours, but they're doing the extra patrols, but they're doing them in case numbers. They're stopping cars, and the traffic stops are all built into that case number. So that's why you'll see some of their numbers are 30,000 case numbers. That's why. So doesn't mean anything. We're not any less busy than they are. Tesla stats, entertaining. Interesting, I should say. We saved or didn't have to spend $23,271.67 so far since November 30th. You'll think that number is a little low because of the 6,000-ish a car. What we found is that investigations cars use less. We were comparing them all to a patrol car, and investigation cars use a little less energy. So they're not driving to calls like we are. They're more driving normal. But the list of all of the figures and how I got to those numbers is all attached to it too. So you'll see that. Figured you'd like that, Dustin.
Like you see now with gas at 3, those things are break even's gonna do this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what's going on too.
So how did your incident numbers compare to last year's?
Well, last year we were at 4,300 at the end of the year. So we're actually down a little bit. I contribute that to COVID. Most people were at home and not out committing crimes or getting pulled over or having issues, so they were home, and our domestics were up obviously last year. They're a little bit down this year compared to last year even. I think people are just getting out more and not afraid to get out anymore. So I think that's kind of how it goes. I think we'll still, hopefully it doesn't, last week doesn't say what the rest of the year is going to be like, but it's, there's still, we were 22 calls yesterday, just in a 24-hour period. So they're going up still. I think we could be close to that 4,000 until the end of the year. So we're not too far off from last year.
Hillary.
Good evening. The first item is the website redesign with revised. They have revised their proposal to include language working with our rebranding consultant. So we have that back in front of you tonight for consideration. I'm sure Kara would love to answer any questions. He's done all the legwork on this.
Thanks, Kara.
And David reviewed it. I saw there was a comment or two from council.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Any questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve revise for the website redesign for $41,300, not to exceed.
So
Vote by Mrs. Qualls, a second by Mr. Doyle. Any questions or comments? Seeing none. Please raise your right hand and vote. Aye. 4-0.
Thank you.
Ayes have it.
The next item, Jim McNulty with Strand is going to come up and explain an update on our project for our water improvements on the north part of our system. And see if we can get some direction on maybe budgeting potentially on some of these cost items that we've run into here of late. So we'll turn it over to Jim.
Okay. Thank you, and good evening. It's been a while since I've been up here. Just give you a quick update on the status. You know, we've been after a big water main project, a couple tanks. Those projects, I would say, are 90+% designed. I think we want to get the piece of ground finally this week, I hope, or thereabouts for a tank. So we've been kind of waiting since about August for that. So we are ready to go to permitting finally. We have to get some of this acquisition done before we could go back in permitting. But I think we're finally at that point, and then we can then look at going out to bid sometime early next year. The water main part of this project is a little bit behind because it started later. We had hoped to be out here later this year. But basically complications mostly around State Road 135 has really made that difficult. And I think we've come to some decisions about a route to get over 135 so we can finish up that design and then get that out to permitting as well in probably January. And then we'll be talking about a date to advertise those projects. I'd like to advertise them as soon as possible, but I don't want to jump the gun and then have bids coming in and not be able to award a project either because we don't have all the permits or we don't have all the easements and the land acquisition we need in hand. So we're just about there. We're going to be working on that over the holidays and then early next year so we can get those projects out to bid next year. Definitely badly needed, and everybody is anxiously awaiting those. In conjunction with that, I've come to kind of want to switch some funds around on these projects. I'm not coming to increase costs from us, but I want to switch some money around on the design effort for the booster stations and the tanks for a number of reasons. And I've provided an explanation for those. There are about 5 things that kind of went over our scope. One of them, as you know, we had to do a lot of survey work when the Pitchfield tank was not on the property that we thought it was on. So our survey was going to go for our booster site, but then we ended up sorting the tank and then this and that, and it just finally took a long time to sort out. I think we've got that going now. So we are confident we have a site. So that took a lot of effort, and that was one item. Another item, much to my dismay, we did not account for nearly enough time. We didn't account for any money to go through the Greenwood permitting process. They're making us do a commercial site plan for the elevated tank. We got away with it on the Pitchfield booster. We convinced them we did not need a commercial site plan for a utility structure. We had hoped that they would do the same with the tank site, because in my experience, these are utility projects. They're not commercial sites. They're not going to have parking. They're not going to have all these things that you need a commercial site plan for. We've been back and forth with this since probably May, a number of meetings with them. We finally kind of just said, we're going to do it. And so we're in the process of preparing that package for a commercial site plan. Now, we hope that they don't provide us any wrinkles because of them trying to consider this a commercial site. The biggest one could be somewhat kind of stormwater detention on that site. And we still haven't got any clear definition from them on what they're going to make everybody do here. So if we get into it, we're going to hope they're going to be agreeable enough that our minimum footprint is going to let us go on by. So we're going to take that piece off of the property the church is supplying. There's detention up in that area already for that area of the property. However, we will see just how this goes. We've not been able to get really clear direction from them in this review so far. And if we have to add something, we'll talk about it.
How big is the impervious area that we're disturbing? Just to help us understand. I mean, we're really not talking about a large area that we're building. I mean, while the tank is large.
Yeah, the tank is large. The bowl is large, but the bottom of the
It's up in
tank's,
the air.
50-foot circle at the bottom of the tank, basically. And then you got a driveway up to it, and much of that could be impervious, and we've left all the rest of the site or pervious, so that, everything else is grass or stones, so it can be drained. And then you got a piece of the driveway that comes into the church parking lot. There's also a piece of pavement there that kind of adds to that project.
And that's already in existence. So what are we actually, one of the things that will help us as we go down this path, if we have more additional hurdles with our neighbor to the north, is we'll need to have some kind of level of detail so that we can have some better conversations to prove that it's not required to do any underground retention and/or these extraordinary requirements should not be something that we have to deal with.
And Jim and Kevin, if you could, as this goes forward, if you could just let us know, let council know what the extra costs are we are incurring because of these added steps. I would just like to know that.
And part of that's what I've estimated here, that we probably have $20,000 in invested time and effort. Yeah, and all these efforts that we have put forward on permitting and trying to do all these things.
Do
And
you know what the timing is for their approval for their permits?
we are going to submit it, and I think that we can get it before them for actually formal considerations. Well, they're going to be in January before we do that. I don't think it stops us from proceeding forward with bidding our project. But while we're doing that, we want to, that's one of those things, we need to have a timeline for them to issue some sort of permit when we get to construction of that site. So that's our plan, is not to let it stop us, but we have to get that going just like we do other permits. And at least now we've got all the attachments together that we have to supply here, and we're going to get that to them probably this week. And then see if we can get on their docket to get their final review. We've talked to them already a couple of times about this. And so this is just gives them something more formal that they can finally consider and then give us. And part of it, they wouldn't really do part of this till we subdivided the site, until we got the plat, we got it replatted. So that's part of this too. And that normally that's about as far as we would need to go and replat site for a tank site. And then we would go on and do the other permitting. So it's been a considerable effort, and some of it I think is a learning curve on their part. They've got some new regulations and ordinances themselves that they're trying to, I think, understand and interpret. And so hopefully by the end of this, it won't have to be something we have to do again. But it's been an effort, and that's part of the reason we're trying to get the budget reestablished so we can finish that effort up. So there's that item, and that's included in this request, and that's one of the bigger items. And a couple of other smaller things. We added a standby generator at the booster station. We didn't have it in there originally. We were going to do a portable. And the whole process, it was going to be such a critical piece of infrastructure, we decided that the town did a permanent generator would be needed. So it took a little effort to get that designed as well. And we had a little extra water main. We had going all the way up to 135 to connect just for hydraulic reasons. So we had about 1,200 feet of water main there just for connections. And then the final thing in the end, while we're doing this, is decided that it might be a good idea to add a new control valve building at the Bargersville tank. Not absolutely necessary, but the one there is not in the greatest of shape. And we wanted to have some ability to monitor that with SCADA and control the flow better. So at least at that time, it's not added in there yet, but it's one of those things that's we thought we would add. So total damage to that, that project is moving a few dollars around. And I don't want to add it. They changed the contract amount overall, stays the same, but I want to move the total of that $64,500. I want to move from the construction side to the engineering side, and then decrease the construction budget by that same amount. And I think we can get by with that, because when we did this originally, we did not have a water main project as part of this. These two together, we're going to bid these boosters with the water main. So those construction services will kind of duplicate each other. Yeah, and so we're trying to save that money, at least at this time. And I think Bargersville is going to really save quite a few dollars with some of that field time as well that we've got in the budget. So our goal is to keep the budget the same, but I would like to transfer those funds so we can wrap up the design and then get this out to permit, so.
So what you're asking us to do is to transfer $64,000 from construction into,
Engineer.
engineering.
Right.
We can do it.
And I say it's all in the agreement, I just need, from my end, I just need to show my budget is moved officially so I can bill those things accordingly, so that's what I'm asking for.
So I think we can do that by consensus if everyone like concur. So everyone- $64,500 is good to reallocate along the contract. So, thank you, Jim.
No budget changes, at least at this point. Thank you. Any questions about those projects anymore?
No, but just keep us posted.
Yeah, no, it is finally coming together, and it's, as you know, it's very busy. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, on the same topic of water, I would like to get an approval for Waterline easement acquisition. That's part of this project on segment 1. Cost of the easement is $8,500.
Questions for Mr. Killinger? Not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve the Waterline easement acquisition in the amount not to exceed $8,500.
Motion by Mr. Doyle, second by Mrs. Moore. Questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote.
Aye.
Aye. 4 ayes.
Thank you. And we have another exciting project that Julie and I are working on. So this is the alley behind Baldwin Street for complete reconstruction of all utilities in the road. We would like to approve Crossroad Engineers, and we've worked out a percentage fee structure of the utilities in the town and so forth that will participate in this project. And the engineering fees are also broken up by these percentages too.
Alley west of Bowman?
East, sorry.
East.
Yep.
It says west.
West on here.
Threw me off. I believe there also needs to be the redevelopment commission probably to also have some percentage of this
Yeah.
as well. But I think
More the merrier, so.
we can, right, I think we can work
Okay.
through that after the fact. I don't know that, let me ask David, can we approve it, the dollar amount, to get started and then figure out how we'll split the cost share going forward? Is everyone okay with that? Because the RDC has some involvement in this as well. With the project that they're involved in, so.
I'll make a motion to approve Crossroads Engineering for $65,000 for the alley project, for the east alley project on Baldwin Street, I guess is the alley east of Baldwin Street. Not to exceed, yeah.
Motion by Mrs. Qualls, second by Mr. Doyle. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0, the ayes have it.
Thank you. We have an item to add.
Oh, boy. No, there's always one.
Never happy.
Thank you.
So in the process of going through purchase orders for the year, Miller Pipeline that worked on Baldwin Street, we have not paid Miller Pipeline yet. And doing some research, could not find where the council officially approved change order number 1 for the project, which involved moving the hydrants from the center of the, not center of the road, but it was close to the middle of the street, back to the fence line along the tracks and some other additions that we knew we were going to do in the project, but we're going to follow up with a change order down the road. I searched,
There wasn't one? I remember this because we had to move the items.
yeah, and I searched through the minutes and I couldn't find anything, so I thought to be safe, just bring it again and reapprove it if you will, so. This is for $31,679.84. You can see a breakdown of what,
The most recent Waterline improvements, or this was prior?
so this was finished up right before July.
Yeah, this is the recent one, it's not.
Oh, it's not the, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
No, no, this
thinking
is,
out there.
this is,
Sounds-
Good memory, though.
yeah, that,
That's what I was thinking of.
yeah, I was thinking it's not the same one. This is the one where we got some grant funds that assisted us with this, is that?
I don't recall if the water project was tied to the grant funds, if it was used.
But it was the most recent Baldwin Street improvements
Yeah.
that we're all enjoying.
Correct.
Lovely right now.
Correct, yes.
Everything but the lights, which
I was
are,
gonna say, it's kind of dark.
yeah.
Yes.
The lights are on
That's
a
coming.
container ship in, near Pacific.
Yeah.
Portobello.
Yeah.
So that original project was just under 300,000 to relocate the water main. And then with this change order, it
Gotcha.
316,000 and change. So just to be safe, I thought I would bring this change order again. If we've already approved it, I don't know if it would hurt to approve it again, but I know when I go to process this payment, it will be red flagged if I can't show that the council approved the change.
So this payment is for $31,679.84.
The change order amount is for that, and then Miller did not do a progressive billing, so it's just gonna be one check cut to them for the 316,000 change. So we just need to approve the third.
I move to approve the change order number 1 for the Baldwin Street Water Main Project in the amount, well, in this amount of $31,679.84, total amount of, is it $291,436.84? Or is that 31,000 added to that?
Yeah, 31,000 added to that, so.
Plus $291,436.84 plus the change order, which is $31,679.84. I'm not writing in, I can't figure
Right
that
there.
That's 316,
Is that 316?
558, 84.
out. To receive.
I'll second.
We have a first one, should go on a second, and Mrs. Moore. Any additional comments or questions? Not, I'll entertain a vote. Raise your right hand.
Aye.
Aye. 4-0, the ayes have it.
Thank you. Any questions for me? Okay, great.
Thank you. Yeah.
I got a loss for word.
Adam?
Yep.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on up.
Do you want to get a copy of this in your packets?
I believe it was on the SharePoint. I don't know if anyone got it.
Hard copies too.
Which would be great.
Thank you, sir.
That's right.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity for a walk-on tonight. This time of year, it was actually, we were editing this up through this afternoon, actually, the staff, but budget carryover list. As this is my first year doing this budget maintenance aspect, I'm not sure if you have seen this in prior years, but it's very common. Essentially, for any active project that's essentially committed or planned to be expended in the first quarter of the subsequent year, gives the departments an opportunity to essentially carry over existing budget authorization for those. This prevents a little bit of that use it or lose it methodology, kind of mindset. It also allows us, when we're doing budget planning, to really think about budgeting for the year and not having to think about, things that are carrying over and those types of things. So the list that you have in front of you, I've reviewed with the controller's office and the finance department, and we've got a list here of $1,389,849. Now, what I did is, you'll see there's kind of a big break space, kind of a half, about 2/3 way down the list, starting with the police department and then Hagerman. So the majority of the carryovers are really purchase order encumbrances that are things that are contracted, remaining to be paid, and that those are just administratively carried over. The ones at the bottom that really the larger amounts, those are tied to ordinance 2021-26, ordinance 2021-27, that's still actually going through the approval process. So we went ahead and included those. Certainly, if they're not approved, they won't be carried over. So the majority of the carryover dollars are really those appropriation ordinances, because we're not going to have them final until 12/28. So with the funds being carried over to the next fiscal. What we would ask for is happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, we'd ask for a motion for the carryover list. And then I have one separate one that's a walk-on to this list yet, but I think just for ease, we'll do that second separately. So I would, our staff recommendation and our recommendation is motion to approve the carryover list as
Any questions for Mr. Stone? I'll entertain the motion.
I'll move to approve the budget carryover from 2021 to 2022.
I'll second.
First by Mr. Doyle, a second by Mrs. Qualls. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. Everyone raise your right hand with aye. Aye. Ayes have it, 5-0.
And then the second item that is still carryover, just didn't make the list, is for HWC Engineering. It's for the Unified Development Ordinance. The original contract was around $98,000 for that work. The remaining balance as of this afternoon is $37,453. And we'd ask to carry that amount over as well from the 2021 budget for Development Department Engineering account.
The 37 is what's been expended.
I see.
I got you.
Just a second. 60,547.06.
6.
Say that again, Joe, please.
60,547.06.
Six. All right, do I have any additional questions for Mr. Stone? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the other carry forward for HWC in the amount of $60,000, $547.06.
Second.
First by Mr. Doyle, second by Mrs. Qualls. Any questions or comments? None, I'll ask for a vote. Raise your hand and say aye. Aye. 5-0.
Very good. So just a matter of kind of order here. The way this will work is we're loading the 2022 adopted line items in the accounting system. So all of your next year reports will reflect your adopted budget that you adopted in October. The accounting system actually maintains two separate budget numbers. It administers an original adopted, that was the kind of council full process, and then it tracks a current or revised budget. So these carryovers will load everything as of Jan 1, current, and then immediately we'll post these as an amendment to that. So for all of your budget to actual reporting on January 1st will reflect a difference between original and revised, with 100% of the difference being this carryover that you just approved. Okay? And then these are restricted to this purpose, to this vendor within 90 days. So to any extent these amounts are not expended or they can't be recategorized in effect. And then lastly, just want to say Merry Christmas. It's been a pleasure working with you all the last couple months, and look forward to talking to you next year.
Yeah, we loved it.
Good.
All right. So now we will revert back to council business. 2022 board appointments. Question. Do we need to do the appointments per commission, or can we do it all at once? So, for instance, if we have multiple boards, can we do all the council appointments in one motion, or do we need to separate it for each board? Okay, first question. Second question is, since now El Presidente just showed back up and I'm running the meeting, can he still do the executive? Okay, perfect. Sorry,
Good question.
didn't want to get it wrong. All right, so I will, Julie, do you have something that you would like to present? Otherwise, I'll start making a motion.
Feel free.
Okay,
Is there,
Any questions? You guys got the board appointments that were emailed to you? Okay, so I will start with the council appointments. So you guys ready? All right. We are going to start with the Plan Commission. I will make a motion to appoint Ruth Ann Moore, Mark Deedle, and James Ramel to the Plan Commission.
Second bill.
Guess I have a first by Mr. Greenwood, a second by Mr. Doyle. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. Raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Plan Commission. Okay, let's go to,
Parks?
go to the parks. So I'll make a motion to appoint Rhonda Ankney to the Parks Advisory Commission. First by Mr. Greenwood, a second by Mrs. Qualls. Any questions or comments? If none, I'll ask for a vote. Aye. Go to the Redevelopment Commission. I'll make a motion that we appoint Robin Bowman, James Pfeiffer to the Redevelopment Commission. I have a first by Mr. Greenwood, a second by Mrs. Qualls. Questions or comments? None, I'll ask for a vote. Aye. 5-0. Then we'll go to the Metropolitan Board of Police Commissioner. So I will make a motion that we appoint Kathleen Hash, David Maurer II, and Andrew Barnhart to the Metropolitan Board of Police Commission. First by Mr. Greenwood, second by Mrs. Qualls. Any questions or comments? Seeing none. Vote aye. 5-0. Right. And let's see. We are now going to make a motion for the Economic Development Commission. I'd like to nominate Eric Prime to the Economic Development Commission. But first by Mr. Greenwood, a second by Mrs. Qualls. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. Aye. Aye. 5-0. Then we have Riverfront District. So I will make a motion that we appoint Pamela Powell Warden to the Riverfront District Board.
I'll second.
First by Mr. Green, second by Mrs. Qualls. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. 5-0. I believe that is everything for the council.
That is correct.
All right.
Okay, and as far as executive appointments, Redevelopment Commission, Eric Prime.
I'll second. Oh, it's yours. You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Susan Jett, put that in the record. CJ Francoeur, Mark Deedle will remain on Redevelopment Commission. Moving on, Stormwater, we're gonna appoint William Gross. Oh,
Yeah, you can do that.
excuse me, Redevelopment Authority, let's move on to CJ Francoeur, Joshua Jones, and James Ramel, which I'll stay on.
The second.
The second, we'll stay on the Redevelopment Authority.
I'll have to say on this one.
Okay, Stormwater Board, William Kent Gross, and then John Bear will appoint. We're moving on. Let me see. There we go. Economic Development Commission, Vivek Malapati. And let's see, we're gonna move on from that. James Pfeiffer on the Riverfront District. And Impact Fee Review Board,
You get that.
we're good.
We're good. There's one more executive appointment
The bees.
for the BZA.
Where we at?
You want to see this?
Okay. Oh, she's up. Okay, Rowana Umbarger to the BZA. That's it. We're good.
That is all of them. That leaves one park seat open and one stormwater seat that we will still need to fill.
Thanks, Julie, for working.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We have a additional board update. Kevin's got a second add-on.
You already had your walk on.
Apologize. Reference the change order for the Baldwin Street project. It's actually lower, so I would like, if we can amend the motion.
Was it for the alleyway or was it for the?
This is for the water improvements on Baldwin. I think the previous,
Not the 31,679.84.
the actual amount is $29,679.84. Brings the overall project
Say
under
that again, Kevin.
29679.84.
$2,000 of savings. I'll entertain a motion.
Ruth Ann?
You ready?
No, yes. We're amending the change order number 1, correct? To the amount of $29,679.84.
Second.
A motion by Mrs. Moore, second by Mr. Doyle. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Ayes have it. 5-0.
Can we wait 5 minutes, see if you can find another 2,000?
I'll entertain.
It'd be worth 5
a motion to
minutes.
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.